updating us on some of the issues pertinent to that portfolio and the national sports policy. And I'm sure our journalists will have some other questions attending there too. As always at our briefing, we will hear first from the Information Minister. We will get an update on some of the decisions coming out of Cabinet, after which we will hear from Minister Nita Headley. Over to you, Minister.
Thank you, Lincoln. Good morning, everyone. I see a lot of new faces this morning. Welcome to you. I suppose it's because my colleague, Minister Nita Headley, is here, and she's joining our Jamaica House briefing for the first time. So we want to welcome you too. Before I turn over to Minister Nita Headley, I'm going to give you a few briefs, as Lincoln said, from our Cabinet. The Broadcasting Commission is to get a permanent home. Cabinet has approved the purchase of a property located at 9 Central Avenue, Kingston 10, for use as a permanent office of the Commission. The cost of the property is $95 million. The Central Avenue property consists of a 2-story office building with a total floor area of 9,600 square feet and a total land area of 1/3 of an acre. The property was valued by the National Land Agency in January of this year at $98 million. The Commission's primary mandate is to ensure that Jamaica's population has access to diverse, age-appropriate media content on existing broadcasting platforms. The Commission regulates the operations of 27 radio stations, 3 free-to-air television stations, and 47 subscriber television operators. The Broadcasting Commission presently operates from rented space on the 5th floor of the Victoria Mutual Building Society's complex on Knutsford Boulevard, which is inadequate to meet the needs of the current Commission needs to have a larger pool of media monitors, but is constrained by a lack of space. The current rental paid per annum by the Commission is $15.4 million. The rent has increased every year since the financial year 2004-2005, when it was $4.5 million per annum. Cabinet has awarded a contract to the American firm Armor Express for the procurement of 1,500 ballistic vests, 1,000 ballistic helmets, and 500 helmet shields for the Jamaica Constabulary Force. These are critical police equipment for the safety and protection of police personnel. The last purchase of ballistic vests for the JCF was made in 2013. The contract is valued at $771,000 US, and the funds have been budgeted for in the police recurrent budget for 2015-2016. The provision and distribution of these critical security equipment to police personnel will provide personal protection and reduce serious injuries while on duty. JCF statistics show that between 2012 and 2014, 38 police personnel were injured on duty. With the increase in violent crime and criminal activities, it is important that the police are equipped and protected to face these challenges. Cabinet has been updated on the work of the National Council on Justice. The National Council provides for the sharing of information and ideas among key stakeholders in the justice and security systems. It also serves as a mechanism for the clarification of issues and the discussions of proposals to improve the justice system. The National Council on Justice, which was established in 2013, was one of the recommendations from the Jamaica Justice Reform Task Force. The Council has already convened 6 quarterly meetings. Among other things, the National Council advises the Minister of Justice on justice reform policy issues, provide greater support to the justice sector transformation agenda, and fosters collaboration, communication, and consensus to improve justice outcomes, public trust, and confidence in the justice system. It comprises a wide cross-section of public and private sector organizations, civil society groups, and other stakeholders. It is chaired by the Minister with responsibility for justice. And Jamaica's Junior Works Minister, Richard Azan, is in Dominica, heading a Jamaican delegation on a visit to the CARICOM state, which was ravaged by Tropical Storm Erica. On Tuesday morning, Minister Azan met with the Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit, Foreign Minister Francine Baran, and Public Works and Ports Minister Ian Pinard at the Prime Minister's office in Roseau. Minister Zan, on behalf of the government of Jamaica, presented a check to the Prime Minister for the amount of $100,000. And Prime Minister Skerritt thanked the government of Jamaica for not only the contribution of cash, but also for the provision of 2 Bailey bridges to assist that country in its recovery efforts. And Minister Nita Headley, we ask you to make your opening statement, and then we'll open the floor for questions. And we're going to ask the journalists, because we're not very familiar with most of you, so we'll ask you to introduce yourselves before you ask your questions. Minister?
Thank you so much, Minister Faulkner. I wish to use this opportunity this morning to once again extend sincere and heartfelt congratulations on behalf of the government and the people of Jamaica to our track and field athletes on their brilliant performances at the recently concluded World Championships in Beijing, China. You brought glory to our nation as the world stood in awe. Your stellar performance was yet another demonstration of the quality, talent, and resilience with a profound sense of national pride. As a small nation with a population of under 3 million, we were not only second on the medal table, equal the number of gold medals had by the winning country. With these results, we truly can declare ourselves the sprinting capital of the world. We thank our athletes, our coaches, managers, volunteers, and other support personnel for your hard work and your dedication. I must also give thanks to the sponsors, the family members, and all Jamaicans at home and abroad for the support and encouragement you continue to give our athletes. The government of Jamaica, through the National Sport Policy 2013, has established a structured framework and coordinated program for Jamaica's sport development, which, of necessity, includes the development and well-being of our athletes and their progression to the highest level of performance. Significant expenditures have been made in the upgrading of our national sporting infrastructure. At the end of 2013, the SDF had spent some $71.69 million on infrastructural projects. Another $247 million was approved and provided as a grant to 40 national associations to support development programs, administrative expenses, training of athletes and administrators, and for participation in national and international competitions. The Charitable Organizations Tax Harmonization Act 2013 and the Charities Act 2013, passed in Parliament, allows amateur sports to benefit from tax relief. We have also seen installation and commissioning on August 3rd of last year, floodlights at the Sabina Park at an aggregate cost of $303 million. This project was made possible through a bilateral agreement with the Government of India, which provided a grant of US $2.1 million. During this fiscal year, government has allocated an additional $35.2 million to complete the project and install a practice lighting pitch. The high school sport infrastructure program has benefited from the investment by government of $250 million to upgrade sport physical infrastructure in 24 high schools. Cabinet having given its approval in August 2015 for the construction of a national sport museum at an approved site across from the National Stadium, has launched a feasibility study which has now been concluded by the UDC, and a design competition among architectural students will be launched soon. $39.7 million have been provided in this present budget for research, relating to this project. The Sport and Capacity Building Committee of the National Sport Council, chaired by Mr. Don Anderson, has been leading the charge on this project. We encourage at this time corporate sponsors to join us in this exciting venture. Already, some corporations have expressed their interest in partnering in same. The stadium pool filters were replaced at a cost of $31.4 million and commissioned on March 4, 2014 by the Sports Development Foundation, an effort undertaken to replace filters which were installed in 1962. The AstroTurf at the Mona hockey field was replaced at a cost of over $25 million, in addition to technical assistance provided through the government of Argentina. The Leo Robinson Netball Court was resurfaced at a cost of $23.3 million. New seating at the facility has also been installed, bringing the total investment up to $35.5 million. In partnership with the Digicel Foundation, Independence Park Limited, a multipurpose court was established at the National Stadium primarily for the use of the Special Olympians. The running track and infield at the G.C. Foster College of Physical Education and Sport, our premier sporting institution, which trains 90% of our coaches and physical education teachers, has been completed at a cost of $168 million. Central government has, for the first time, allocated in the 2015-2016 budget $71 million to assist in offsetting the costs to athletes and federations in preparing for regional and international competitions through greater access and use of national sporting facilities. An energy audit has been undertaken for the solarization of the National Indoor Sports Center, a pilot project of the Ministry of Science, Technology, Energy and Mining, led by the National Energy Solutions Limited, formerly REP. Initiative was launched on July 29, 2015, and is expected to significantly lower the cost for usage by our primary stakeholders, our sports associations. Our anti-doping teams have been significantly bolstered with improved testing capacity, staffing, and governance structures now in place. This we do in order to continue to protect our clean athletes. The electrical system at the stadium pool will be upgraded this year at a cost of $45 million. $26 million in this year's budget has been allocated for the installation of an irrigation system at the Trelawney Multipurpose Stadium, the future home of the Usain Bolt Sports Academy. What is very clear from this update, ladies and gentlemen, is that despite the current tight fiscal space in which we are operating, significant work has been taking place in the advancement of sport in Jamaica. Though funding has been identified since 2013, 2014, requests for proposals for the provision of a national health insurance scheme for our athletes were issued on August 11th of this year for the provision of health insurance for 1,500 of our national athletes. The deadline for responses from bidders expires tomorrow, September 10th, 2015. Once the bids are in and the evaluation process completed, the actuaries will make a recommendation to the government, and we expect to be in a position to award a contract for the Jamaica Athlete Insurance Plan by December 2015, providing our athletes for the very first time with health insurance coverage tailored to their unique needs. The J3As and the Sport Development Foundation have also been supportive of the athletes' welfare, and since 2001, the amount spent for the development and welfare of the athletes has been increased from $670,000 in 2001 to now $9 million in 2000 up to 2013. It is clear, however, that this effort has been subjective, and athletes have had to apply to obtain assistance. So, ladies and gentlemen, following consultations with the J3As, the interministerial committee established by the Prime Minister, including the opposition, and members of the athletes' fraternity, it has been agreed that we will forego an elaborate national celebration to facilitate the provision of additional resources for athlete development and welfare in this 2015-2016 year. The sum to be saved will allow support to be given to J3As through the Sport Development Foundation to provide a monthly stipend to a pool of approximately 70 athletes currently in a national program and those going through the developmental process heading into Rio 2016. We anticipate that with the support from the Tourism Enhancement Fund and Chase, this will become a reality, a sustained reality for the future as well. Our efforts will continue as we will seek to create the best environment possible for the health, well-being, security, and safety, as well as the high performance and prosperity of our sportsmen and sportswomen who bring so much glory and fame to brand Jamaica. The government remains fully committed to assisting our athletes in every way we can. The Prime Minister, however, has agreed to host the athletes at a special reception over the Heroes Weekend, which will be broadcast live to the rest of the nation. Our athletes have made us extremely proud. Together, we must continue to give them our full support going into Olympics next year and indeed for all the years to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Anita Headley. And as I said before, just before you ask your questions, please introduce yourselves, your media house, your name. And so we open the floor. We have microphones, so let me see by a show of your hand.
Good morning.
Morning.
Keon Rayner, TVJ. Minister, you spoke of the subjective nature of the assistance given through the J3As. Can you say what criteria is being put in place as it relates to the pool of funds for the 70 athletes and what is the pool that we're working with and what is being saved from not hosting the celebrations?
Okay. The criteria has been established by the J3As, and we have asked that a separate briefing be held to outline the criteria for the nation and for our athletes as well. I believe in 2008, some $80 million was put aside, I believe, for a national celebration. A far more modest amount was done in 2000 and following the 2012 Olympics, which was in the region of some $40 million. So that saving up about $40 million will be going into a pool already established, and to add to what is already at the J3As. I think a total pool will be $60 million.
Wait on the microphone, please. Thank you.
IREX Radio Nationwide Radio. You speak of the health insurance for 1,500 athletes. Just want to know if this is only field athletes or all sporting disciplines, because the same cry we hear from the track and field stars or athletes, we're hearing from netball, JFF, and others.
This, and I'm really surprised that we haven't been following, because I really have been speaking about it for quite some time. We had an extensive consultation process with all of our sporting associations and federations, at which point each association was asked to submit the names of the number of athletes within their national pool. This is how we arrived at the number 1,500. All the federations which currently have athletes in a national pool, which represent the government of Jamaica. So all sporting disciplines will be covered.
CVM.
I don't need an introduction. All right, Donald Oliver, CBM Television.
I just saw the tag on your shirt.
Yeah,
So.
all right. You throw the figure out there, $71 million for athletes and administrators administrators from the budget. $71 million, is that what you said?
No, I think I mentioned $71 million provided in this year's budget to assist athletes and federations in offsetting the costs to utilize the national facilities.
Oh, just for national facilities?
Just for the facilities.
Okay. Was that adjusted based on the fact that solar is now is being implemented?
Has not been adjusted because the solar is not yet in place, and that we would have had from the submission of the various associations their plans already for the 2015-2016 year in terms of their engagement in regional and international competitions.
Okay. One more thing, in regards to the monthly stipend to 70 athletes, you said the criteria is going to be announced by the J3s at a later date.
Right.
Have you guys come up with a figure as to the monthly stipend?
I believe that is now being determined and being worked out. There has been consultation with the athlete who currently heads the welfare fund at the J3As and the executive of the J3As. I believe that they have arrived at a figure. However, I will allow for them to have those discussions with you. I think they're expecting to have an editors forum very shortly, within another few days.
Okay, Keon, please allow your colleague and we'll come back to you. A little rule structure here, so we ask you that you follow it, okay? All right, morning.
My question is, given this will be seen as long overdue in the sporting circle, would this now be feasible from a government perspective, meaning is it sustainable? And similarly, if the government changes, is there any impending changes, or will this be something for the long haul?
We are expecting that once this is in place, that it will be continued by successive governments, and I know that this one will be around for a very long time, but that it is expected to continue, and I believe it is something that we will need to ensure, not just by us saying that we want it to happen, but that it becomes a part of policy as well.
So Keon, now you get your chance. Wait on the mic.
Mike,
We know you can project, but we'd like
when is the system being introduced expected to come on stream?
1st of October.
1st of October.
Do we have any other question?
All right. Sorry, you gave a lot of information, all right?
I did.
So I'm trying to go through each of them. In going back to the health insurance scheme with the 1,500 athletes, do you have any idea as to the figure that these companies who have bid will have to spend or either leverage, or do you have any idea of the figure? Because this is a massive amount in terms of athletes and the scheme that they're trying to put together.
You want me to preempt the bid?
A little.
No.
And just to let you guys know that minister's brief, that we will provide you with a copy, so you will have ease of reference. Do we have any other question? Sure. Keon, Minister.
Yeah. You made mention of a security contract to, is it Armor Express?
Yes.
Could you just elaborate for me? I didn't get the figure. I want to make sure I have the figure
It's
correct.
$771,000 US.
Or in terms of timelines to deliver the bits of equipment.
I think they'll get here in short order. I can't tell you the specific date because the contract has just been awarded, but we expect that they'll be delivered within months. Sure.
The athlete insurance scheme is vital, no doubt. But given the athletes like Usain Bolt, Shelley and Fraser Price and so forth who did exemplary well again in Beijing, given some of them are in their twilight years, can we as a government and as a country ensure that our athletics don't go the same route as West Indies cricket did when it just dwindled right down?
I think most of what I would have mentioned earlier and what we continue to do, in part, is to ensure that there's going to be continuity and sustainability. We have sought to institutionalize our success from the very training facilities which produce the number 90% of our national coaches and physical education teachers, all the way to the well-being and welfare of our athletes. I believe we are en route to establishing a sustainable path to continue to being the capital for sprinting in the world and other sports.
Sorry, Natalie.
Garth Williams, Business Access TV. Minister, with regards to the national insurance plan for the athletes, is there consideration being made for, as my colleague just mentioned, the twilight years of some of our athletes, consideration being made for like a pension scheme for athletes that we can look forward to at some point in time?
Yeah. Well, you know, athletes really aren't employees of the government. They're not. And so they don't fall as would other employees under a pension facility. However, I believe it's important that we offer sound financial advice to our athletes in providing individual plans for their life after track and field. And as much as we can facilitate that process, we will seek to do so.
All right, any more questions?
All right. Going back to Sabina Park, I read there's going to be an additional $35.2 million to complete the project. Why wasn't that in the original bid, and what is the $35.2 million do?
It's
in the original budget, sorry.
And it's not that it was not in the original budget, but I think part of what we provided was to support what the government of India had provided. So this $35 million is coming from government of Jamaica, and not from government.
Is there supposed to be some realignment of the lights at Sabina Park as well?
The realignment of the lights would be a part of what the manufacturers would have committed to doing. So whatever it takes for them to get it right is their responsibility. We have paid for a service, and that they have committed to providing that service at a standard which is expected across the world.
Last one. Okay, Mr. Barton.
Yes.
Permanent Secretary, this is outside of the scope here. Permanent Secretary of Anika Miller has resigned some 2 weeks now. Just want to know why this has not been made public.
Well, the permanent secretary will make the announcement when she is ready. She didn't ask us to make that announcement, and I think she wanted to have time to put her business in order before we made the announcement. But she's going on to greener pastures, and we will miss her, and you know, we wish her the very best.
Not greener.
Well, she leaves the end of the month, so she's still here, so we're in the process of finding somebody. We have a number of permanent secretaries, so it's just
Competent.
a matter of, yes, competent, thank you, Minister,
Yeah.
competent permanent secretary. So it's just a matter of finding from that pool somebody with experience.
Yes, finally, I see a lot of spending here, albeit for the lifeblood of the country. But in terms of, let's go back to the Beijing World Champs, where Jamaica gives China splendid showing and must have translated the money for them. Is there any plan to negotiate with the Chinese government for some investment in sports or something?
Very happy you asked. I took the opportunity while I was there. You know that wouldn't have missed me, right? To have visited the Beijing Sport University and to have established a kind of exchange program. We expect that in the near future, a cadre of young persons will be attending the Beijing Sport University. Scholarships provided by the government of China. In addition, I met with my counterpart, the Minister of Sport for China, and we have established some mutual exchanges, which I think will be to the benefit of sport development in Jamaica.
Thank you, colleagues. That brings...
All right, we'll take the two last questions then.
Two last. I'm okay.
Two last questions.
Go with Mr. Business, and then we take CVM.
No, actually, I think it's the same question because we were just interested. We heard when you spoke of the future home of the Usain Bolt Sports Academy.
I was wondering how that was too.
Right.
Yes.
I was wondering.
So we're just asking if you could kind of elaborate on that. What is it about? How the idea, everything.
Well, it has been the Prime Minister's dream, and not just since Beijing 2015, but Cabinet Records, I believe, will reflect her desire to have that stadium in his home parish named appropriately the Usain Bolt Sports Academy. So, however, until the completed plans of putting in the proper infrastructure is realized to include a running track.
This implementation of the Usain Bolt Sports Academy, is it finally, are we finally moving away from calling now the Trelawney Sports Complex a white elephant?
Well, I don't think we could ever refer to anything associated with the legendary Usain Bolt a white elephant.
No, before now. I mean,
With
based on the fact that it wasn't being utilized properly, is this the plan that sets its future, seals the future of what that complex is supposed to be about?
Well, I think it will be a great utilization of that space. I think I love, and I think many Jamaicans and many persons who have attended that location. It's a great stadium. It's a great location. It's a fabulous venue. And I think many people across the world, including sportsmen and women, would want to be a part and be associated with that stadium. More so if it is named the Usain Bolt Sports Academy. We would want to see people coming there to train and to be a part of a package and a tourism product, which I think would be second to none.
And if I may add, Minister, that the variety of things that can happen there will make it more attractive so that it will be used more often. So
Absolutely.
yes.
You want timelines? Yeah. Well, I think, I wanted to give a timeline on the insurance plan. I think many of you here would probably, if I hadn't been such a nice person, would rake me over the coals about it. But governance is a process. Government is a process. And I think that since 2012, when I became minister, there are a number of things that today would have been completed. However, because of the nature of the processes, we have to go through stringent measures. And today I can tell you, I was hoping to have handed out an insurance card before Beijing 2015. That was my final deadline. It didn't happen because it had to go back through finance and come back to, so it's a process. And so from design of the stadium, of this facility, there are several stages through which this will have to go. But I can tell you that it is very near and dear to the Prime Minister herself. And with that, I think that's the greatest sense of urgency.
Thank you. Thank you, colleagues. We want to wish you a great rest of the day. And we want to thank our viewers who joined us on the PBCJ and those who joined us on the World Wide Web.
Brought to you by Telligence Inc. Telligence Inc., turning broadband and the internet into services.
Here at the Public Broadcasting Corporation of Jamaica, we keep our Jamaican traditions alive via our one-of-a-kind programming, content highlighting our world-famous arts, culture, and heritage. We go the extra mile to keep you informed and educated through our diverse current affairs programs. Programs that make you think, laugh, and bring back those golden memories. Programs for the entire family. The Public Broadcasting Corporation of Jamaica is located right in the heart of Harper-Tree at 529 South Oden Avenue, Kingston 10. PBC Jamaica, serving you through our dynamic, diverse, and creative programming. PBC Jamaica, truly the people's station.
Keep we island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it. Keep we island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it.
No dash, no paper, no dash, no plastic. Dispose your garbage responsibly. No know how to recycle, learn it quick. And if you drop it, better pick up every piece of it. Plastics last forever, don't forget the bits. Cause when them touch the street, them end up in the sea. Collect pan the reef where they fish them feed. And when you want seafood, I eat your
Keep
eat.
island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it. No dirty up Jamaica, no dirty up Jamaica, no dirty up Jamaica, no dirty up Jamaica.
Jamaica, we all have a big problem. So far, 100 persons has lost their life because of what? Motor vehicle accident. Speed kills. Life is more precious than gold. Speeding, leave that for me on the track. My name is Johan Blake, Beast. Remember, help me save lives, Jamaica, please.
When the devil knock you down and knock the living breath out of you and you ain't got nothing else to do but to get down on the floor and say, God, I call upon your name today. If you don't help me, God, help.
Stand in God's power with Henry Fernandez this and every Sunday at 7:30 a.m. with a repeat at 8 p.m. on PBCJ.
So he said, let there be light. And all of a sudden, whatever he said, light. Oh, I dare you to open your mouth and whatever you want out of life, open your mouth and say it. Say it. Say it. And it will be so. Somebody ought to give God praise in here.
Follow God's plan for your life with the teachings of Henry Fernandez, Sunday morning at 7:30 with a repeat the same evening at 8 p.m. Only on PBCJ, the People's Station.
It's Q&A.
Motorists, know your rights as road users. If you're stopped by the police in a road check, the police have the right to ask for your driver's license and vehicle documents. If you don't have the documents on you, you can ask for 5 days to provide them at a convenient police station. If you don't have vehicle insurance, you can be prosecuted and face the court. If you fail to renew the registration license, the police are entitled to seize your vehicle. If the police wish to search your vehicle, they should tell you the reasonable grounds for wanting the search. If you are given a ticket, sign it only if you plan to pay the fine and not contest the charge in court. And please be reminded, children under 18 years must wear a seatbelt, even if they are seated in the back. Know your rights. Knowledge of the traffic road code makes it easier to work with the police as they do their job to make the roads safer for you and everyone else.
And the arts. You're watching PBC Jamaica.
This is the news on PBCJ. I'm Carol Francis. It's Wednesday, September 9. New statistics released from the police shows a 20% increase in murders for the first 8 months of the year compared with the similar period last year. In particular, the data is showing that rural parishes have overtaken Kingston, St. Andrew, and St. Catherine in terms of the number of murders recorded. According to the police, 826 murders were recorded over the period January 1 to September 5. That is 140 more homicides than the 686 recorded for the similar period last year. The 826 killings so far this year is the highest in 5 years. The West Kingston Commission of Inquiry continues today with more testimony from residents of West Kingston. During yesterday's sitting, a question posed by counsel for the Jamaica Constabulary Force JCF, Valerie Nita Robertson, to witness Marjorie Hines resulted in Commissioner Sir David Simmons pondering whether to recall former Prime Minister Bruce Golding. The issue is whether Mr. Golding was in Tivoli Gardens prior to the operation in May 2010.
Mrs. Nita Robertson, I'm a little puzzled. I don't think we have any evidence that Mr. Golding went into that community before early 24.
Well, he has said he did not.
Yeah.
Yes.
He went after.
Yes, but of course, Mr. Commissioner, you know that information is not confined to certain persons. I made my own checks, and that's why I asked the question.
So you have evidence that he went into the community before?
Well, it is based on what person said. So that's why I asked her.
I think this is the first time we have evidence.
Yes.
It's not.
Well, she is saying that she didn't go, but yes.
It's not adverse, but we may have to consider calling back Mr. Golding.
The Ministry of Health has provided recommendations for safe water use to the Ministry of Education in light of the severe drought conditions affecting the island and the resulting water restrictions. The recommendations, which are to be sent to all schools, are aimed at preventing the spread of disease. The recommendations include how to clean and maintain tanks being used, to ensure that storage containers are covered to prevent insects, dust and other contaminants from getting into the water. And parents of young children are being asked to send them to school with drinking water and to encourage hand washing and basic hygiene sanitation practices. The Ministry of Health is working on a draft legislation that will regulate all operators of water trucks. Persons purchasing water to ensure they know where the commodity is being sourced. The arrangement with the Jamaica Urban Transit Company, JUTC, for Deans of Discipline in high schools in Kingston to carry out checks at the Halfway Tree Transport Center continues. The move is designed to reduce the number of students converging at the bus center, which often results in indiscipline. In regional news, Dr. Keith Rowley is to be sworn in today as Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago after his party, the PNM,